Okay, hello everyone. We are live. Welcome to the Monero Meet for the month of October. It's a special upgrade edition because, of course, the upgrade is just about to happen. So that's why we're all here, so that you can, we can celebrate with you, answer questions. It's a very informal, interactive session. We have people join because, of course, everyone shows up at the last minute. It's just what you do. So no different here in the Monero world, of course. So people will keep coming in, but I think we can do the basics with starting with intros. The fork will happen in about 40 minutes. So that's when, it's block 22,210,000. That's the block when it happens. So we'll be keeping track of that. For those that are asking, we will mostly be monitoring the YouTube chat if you want to chat there. But if you do want to chat in the Monero space IRC, I'll do my best to keep track of that too. But it takes a lot of work to go back and forth. But yeah, we're here to answer questions. We're here to talk about all the cool stuff Monero is doing, and ultimately just hope that we have a nice, smooth, hard fork. Not changing the algorithm this time, so hopefully we won't be sitting here for another hours or waiting for the next block to be mined. We've only done that 1 or 2 times. So this one should go pretty smoothly like the rest. If not, you all, get ready to have an even better party, I guess. So introductions, my name is Justin.
I'm going to blame the CEO.
You blame the CEO. That's a good way to put it. Someone else's fault. Yes, Seth put in the chat on YouTube tracking. You have to hit F5. Whenever it finds a block, it doesn't update, so you need to keep spamming F5, sadly, on this one. But it still is a very useful tracking tool. Introductions, and then we'll go through the rest of the chat as people are coming in and the like. You can see more and more faces are making their way in, which is awesome. But yeah, I'm Justin. I, do everything random from being an organizer of the Monero space to talking about why Monero sucks with breaking Monero. So you see me all over the place. How about I first introduce the sort of new to Monero Meet or Monero coffee chats to the space, Nicholas from Newton. So Nicholas, can you first talk about what Newton is? And then as a disclaimer, Newton is an affiliate of the company that I work for. So I'm not invested in them, but that I just want to make sure everyone's super aware of that.
Disclosure has been made. No, first, thanks for having me here, Justin. Obviously, I'm a little bit of a novice in the Monero community, but still happy to be here. As for Newton, Newton is a Canadian cryptocurrency exchange in Canada. Main selling point is it's a no-fee model, no fees to fund, buy, sell, withdraw, anything. And obviously, we have Monero.
That's why you're on here.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, Nicholas. If you have any questions on buying Monero in Canada or whatever, or anything exchange related, I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to cover those things. What about you, Seth?
Hey, everybody. Yeah, sorry. Double muted there. My name's Seth Simmons. I'm, I guess, kind of like Justin, jumping in, trying to help out, spread the good word about Monero on Twitter, on Matrix, on Reddit. Just trying to be an active part of the community and help out where I can, answer questions,
You're
learn.
part of Monero space too.
And Monero space as well. Okay. I am. Getting kind of my fingers into as many things as possible lately. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for joining, Seth. Hopefully people will recognize you from some of the interviews on this channel because they're pretty dope. And you're the more intelligent counterpart to me. All right, what about you, Lee?
Yes, so I go by the handle VTNerd on IRC and forums, and I've been contributing to Monero various times over the past couple of years. So I think, and this release, Dandelion++ finally goes in. So that's one of the features that I worked on, and I don't know, that's about it, I guess.
Would you say that you've done a little bit of work for Dandelion++ or a lot of work for Dandelion++?
Yeah, it ended up being a lot because we were simultaneously adding I2P and Tor. So that's sort of been an ongoing effort, how to squeeze like all of them into one. So we kind of went from like no transaction IP privacy to a whole bunch of features in about 12 to 18 month kind of range. So yeah, the answer is yeah, a lot more than I'm letting on. And there was like testing. We found another bug recently. By we, I mean Zyphon thought of something. One of the anonymous contributors. So yeah, it's been ongoing testing, and it's kind of frustrating because the best way to test it is to have everyone using it. But it's kind of hard to simulate the whole network here by myself. So it was sort of like, yeah, it works between like 3 of my machines, but it's a little different when you've got, you know, thousands of P2P connections. So
Very cool. Sorry, I saw that there was some issues ending to get a YouTube. So sorry if it's a little choppy. I made an adjustment, so hopefully it'll be a little bit smoother for you all. Sorry about that. Reload YouTube or whatever, and I'll keep an eye on it as we go. All right. What about you, Tallis, man?
Oh, where's the new button? There we go. Hey, everybody. Go by Tallis down online, and I'm pretty big Monero enthusiast. Originally was a Bitcoin guy, like we probably all were at one point, and kind of transitioned over to Monero when it became clear to me that this was, a little closer to, I think, what Satoshi's vision was, and just been really welcomed by the community and very much being involved, especially I'm quite active in the compliance space. So that's where I spend most of my time. I'm an accountant by trade, so there's definitely a little bit of overlap there. And yeah, just really enjoying the community and certainly looking forward to the hard fork today, for the upgrade.
Awesome. Arctic Mind, what about you?
Hey, are you getting
That's all right. We're back on. Totally destroyed my CPU though. Oh, we'll see. Okay, that looks better. Okay, sorry everyone on YouTube. We are back up. OBS Ninja is great, but it loves to eat up your entire CPU. So hopefully this is better. Sorry everyone. Thanks Arctic Mind for introducing yourself. Andres.
Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Andres. I am a part of the Monero team. I do most of the illustrations in there, the Gunters, graphics overall, UX, along with my buddy Baltzar and M2 something, my friend Dimi. It's a very fun group to be in, and we just released the newest update to be ready for the fork. And finally, with a dark theme that everybody wanted. That's the most important news of the day after the fork, of course.
Very nice. Oh, we have someone who we've been trying to get on for pretty much every single one of these chats and finally made it. Sniper.
Act like I haven't attended before. I definitely attended these before.
You have, just not many. I ping him every single time. You guys
hold them at a terrible time for West Coast.
Want to give your high level who is this random person?
So I'm Sniper / Alexander Blair. I deal with merging along with Luigi, and run support XMR with M5M, who's also down there in the corner. But that's a lot of what I deal with, reviewing code and having fun with that stuff.
I'm not getting any audio at all. It's totally distorted.
I'm getting things from you, Sniper. I think it might be on your end, Arctic Mind.
I mean, this thing is chewing through like 30 megabit a second just receiving. So there's a really good chance this is not going to be happy for a lot of people.
We have OBS Ninja works really well if your computer can handle it. If it can't, like I noticed with YouTube when I was trying to download all this and then stream at 60 FPS high quality, it was not liking it, so I had to drop it to 30.
If you add ampersand no video, you only send out video, but they get nothing in, so that'll save on bandwidth if you're having issues.
Cool. You might want to try that one, Arctic Mind. Someone can probably walk you through that in IRC if needed. M5M, thanks for making it to. I think this is your first Monero Meet, although I believe you were on a coffee chat in the past.
That's right. Yeah. Thanks for making it such impossible times on the day.
Well, okay, that one's not on me. We tried to make this for 17
You're-
UTC in
Look, if you wanted this to be later, you should have turned your pool off.
right. Yes. For those who don't know,
this is directly you caused this. You could have stopped it.
All right. Yeah, it's me to blame. I apologize. The money's just too good, you know.
your sleep isn't worth turning off your own pool to slow down the network.
Exactly. Anyway, yeah. I'm M5M. I run a pool. Apart from that, I'm trying to be as active as I can in the community. I moderate Reddit, Monero mining. I moderate an IRC channel.
Excellent. Thanks for being on. We also have JW. You made your way on. I know you weren't sure if you were going to join, but here you are.
Yeah, I left work early just for you guys. Not really. I just left work early because I didn't have much to do. Yeah, so I don't really do anything for Monero. I've just been around for a long time. I made some really crappy graphical user front ends for wallets and mining tools over the
He
years.
runs the most popular IRC bot for Monero.
I do. Yeah, that's true. That's my main contribution to the Monero community is IRC shit posting by a bot. So, but yeah, I've been around forever and happy to join.
Awesome. Diego, my partner in crime.
Hey everybody, it's Diego. I am the recently revealed core team Banshee scary ghost guy that goes and haunts all of the Monero places to make sure everyone stays in line. Yeah, I do some design work, some what do I do these days? Nobody knows. They demand transparency, but they're not getting any. So that's what I do these days. Happy to be on here. Excited for the fork. This isn't a coffee chat, so nobody has any liquids to drink. I see. Oh no, VT Nerd maybe has. Oh no, he doesn't. That's a microphone. Oh wait, look, everybo's grabbing their drinks and showing them.
Here, everyone else besides you has something to drink.
I'm gonna go grab something to drink then.
Is that a Barolo?
I actually did have coffee in here too.
Is that a Barolo, Andres? That's a real question.
No, no Barolo here. We are in Argentina. It's just Malbec.
Malbec. Okay. You're doing it wrong. You need to be. It's red.
I
It's
did
close
my
enough.
best.
No one knows better.
I was hoping that nobody asked what it was.
That's funny.
Oh.
All right. And then who is in the lower right-hand corner? Video off.
I don't think the order is the same for everybody.
Oh, that's you, Doug. Sorry, Doug.
Hello.
That's you.
Hello, I'm Need Money 90. I'm a part of Monero Space. I'm a moderator in the community, and I do all sorts of stuff when I can in my free time. Recently, there was a funding proposal for a Monero radio station, so that will be coming up soon. And you guys can check it out.
I've really been having a desire to DJ personally, so I'm trying to get Need Money 90 and Rarar to just put out this Monero FM so I can hit you up with my fire music, but
you'll be able to
you can't yet. But yeah, it's really cool. And of course, the appreciation of Monero price means that we can get tons of music.
Yes, the money will definitely not be embezzled.
Absolutely not. What do you think of it?
Core team embezzlement? Is that what you're saying? Well, of course, I think we finally went through the whole introductions. I wonder if anyone else will eventually make their way on. Make sure you let me know if something gets up with the YouTube chat. I do have it open on a screen. But of course, we can walk through some of the really cool stuff happening with this Monero upgrade. I guess, Seth, do you want to explain like what Clsag is, like high level? Why is it so awesome? What's going to happen to Monero in like 30 minutes here?
Yeah, sure. It's definitely the most important feature, or I don't know. Dandelion plus plus is really huge too. They serve different purposes. So, yeah, Clsag is really important for everyone transacting on the network because it will decrease transaction sizes about 20% for each transaction that you send, and verification times by about 25%. Those numbers are approximate because they change based on exactly how you're transacting, but that allows us to both reduce fees, so your fees will go down proportionately because the actual space that you're taking in each block is less, and we can support more transactions per block. And it's really just future proofing, allows us to keep the chain lighter as we move forward. Yeah, it doesn't specifically increase users' privacy, that kind of thing, but really just an important layer one upgrade to make transacting cheaper and to keep the blockchain bloat down.
Very nice. Yeah, it's tons of stuff. Oh, you better give your joke out real quick, Doug, or else I'm gonna say it. I don't know if he's here. If other people are joining, you can just hop in. It looks like we had another person join also. You can always do your introductions. But yeah, so thanks for the rundown of what CLSAGs are. They're super, super awesome. And then I guess Lee, do you want to talk about what like Triptych is? Like why, this is something that we can look forward to in a future update whenever that eventually happens?
Yeah, so I'm less familiar with the details than Triptych and Sprang, obviously, who came up with the idea or the technology. But it would enable a Monero to increase the ring sizes quite a bit, but without a significant increase in transaction size. The current, I'm looking at the block number there. The current issue would be scaling beyond sort of like 11 ring members. It doesn't scale up as well, meaning that there's the growth of the transaction size increases sort of, I think, linearly. And so Sarang, they're one of the researchers in the Monero Research Lab, came up with a technique for that enabled the ring size to be increased dramatically, but not really increase the transaction size, nor the verification time. The verification time is also important because there's a lot of ideas that maybe the transaction size doesn't go up, but if the verification time goes up significantly, that's also kind of a non-starter because that puts load on the whole network. So the downside, I guess, at this point, is that it needs probably more review. It's certainly not ready. It's not going to be like 6 months out for sure. But how far out? I don't even know to ask. Sorry, but I think it probably needs. I guess it has been reviewed at this point, hasn't it? With you may remember that at some point it was reviewed, if I recall right.
I think it's gotten some peer review from submissions to conferences,
That's
that
what I
kind
meant,
of thing. Yeah, no like official audit or anything like that, but yeah, some peer review.
Yeah, it was accepted at the,
right.
the
Yeah, the audit couldn't come
conference.
until it's actually code. That was it. Right. So it at least has some base level review. But beyond that, I mean, putting it into code is a whole nother effort as well. It took, I don't know how long it took bulletproofs or even before that ring CT, but it's not like it's a level of effort even beyond sort of Dandelion plus plus for sure, because of the amount of the advanced math going into the code and making sure that single mistake is going to be pretty costly to Monero. So it's yeah.
And I think an important call out too is that.
But there's hope for increasing the ring size dramatically.
Yeah, for sure. That'll be exciting, and something I wanted to call out real quick for viewers. So Clsag, what we're implementing now in this hard fork, replaces a portion of the current Monero protocol, a portion of ring CT, where it's how you're proving that you're one of the signers of the 11 people who are transacting within the transaction. We're upgrading that portion. Something like Triptych or Arcturus actually replaces the whole privacy protocol that's used in Monero. So that's why it's a much bigger deal. It'll need obviously very broad audits, probably even more than Clsag. It's a lot more of a new idea versus Clsag is kind of an improvement on an existing idea. So there will definitely be a lot of work that goes into that. And I think Sarang already has published Python proof of concept code, but obviously that would have to be converted into C++,
Yes.
and lots of changes would have to happen to get that into the network. But
We
that's
should
an
probably just-
exciting longer term one.
We should probably just redo the entire implementation in Rust first, right? You might as well. Easy. Easy.
There you go. Simple.
Yeah.
Do it a weekend. Do it in a weekend. Come on. Scott, you joined us. Want to say hi?
Yes, hello.
Thanks for making it.
Yes. Thank you, thank you. Although I will say very briefly, if we do convert to Rust, I think Moo has voiced. I don't know how this. My understanding is that Moo is not fond of Rust and is quite fond of C++. So I don't know if his opinion has changed in the last year and a half. I think it was when the conversation of Rust came up.
I kind of second that.
Anyways.
Just to keep track of time, we're about 19 minutes away from the hard fork. So thanks for being with us. We can cram as much content in before then as possible, but of course we can keep going after. Tons of really interesting things have happened with Monero the past few weeks. The transactions are at all-time highs. There were over 20,000 transactions per day like 2 days ago. Yesterday it was like 19 and 9 or something. It was so close. It wasn't quite over 20,000, but it was so close. And it's been some of the highest network activity we've had and really ever for Monero. So that's really, really awesome. The price, of course, is doing pretty well. I guess, Nicholas, have you seen a large number of users that are interested in buying Monero up there in Canada?
Absolutely. Actually, before I was aware that the fork was going on, I think we were scratching our heads the last 2 weeks why I think Monero was probably the most traded coin on Newton. And still is the case today. I can't divulge on the exact numbers, but yeah, totally. People have been trading Monero on all 3 of our platforms nonstop at record-breaking numbers. So they're obviously excited.
Very cool. I wish I could use that in the US. Oops, too bad. I have to go through Kraken though, which is still pretty nice.
Not forever.
Ooh. All right, Vic is not here, but he might still come on. I know it's a little early for him around dinner time, and even Kick Wallet hit over 50,000 installs between iOS and Android. They said that their usage is well off the charts. Hopefully, he'll be here to talk about that too. But I guess Monero means money. The very briefly for 2 days #1 movie in America. Has over 20,000 YouTube views now, so that's nice. Keep getting that out there. It remains a good tool to get people, involved in Monero. And since then, Dr. Daniel Kim has made a new Monero Sound Money Safe Mode update to it, really, which is on the Monero Community Workgroup channel. Also, if you have any questions, remember you can put them in the chat. Any other comments we'll be looking through. But I guess. I don't know. I'm just really excited for what's coming on with Monero. So Arctic Mine, hopefully you're able to get your end working too. But do you want to talk about what you have been doing with the latest block size proposals that you've been working on? Let's see. He might still have issues on his end. But Arctic Mine has been working on a lot of block size proposals on how to, honestly, I can't explain it in full detail. So hopefully he'll be able to comment on that soon. What else? I guess Sniper, how has been being the lead maintainer been going for you?
I mean, not too bad. Thankfully, Celesta takes care of a lot of the pre-work of getting all the merges ready and queued up, essentially. I do spend some time reviewing all the merges that they go through. Generally, if I do like a big wipe of them and there's a couple left,
Well,
I'm kind of looking at them.
In this particular case, are we good right now?
I think you're lagging pretty bad, Arctic Mine. Yeah, Arctic Mine is sadly quite behind, I think. Fun. But that's okay.
There's a lot of noise in the connection. I don't hear anybody actually.
So
it's Arctic.
yeah, the in the meantime, the XMR Trader subreddit on Reddit has, I guess the demographics have shifted. Over the past 2 years, the general perception of the subreddit has been that people don't want charts and stuff on the front page. And so I made a poll recently, and it seems that the subreddit in majority, a significant majority right now, is actually okay with having charts and technical analysis videos on the front page. So I think we might be moving towards allowing those temporarily and seeing what happens. I'm curious. I'm skeptical, but we'll see.
We need to make a bunch of TA experts.
Yeah.
Interesting times.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, HYC. How are you?
Doing all right. How you guys?
It must be late there because it's pitch black in your room.
Yeah, it's 1 a.m.
Well, thanks for making it.
You can't be asleep at the floor.
So you are actually the one that most consistently has Barolo for these things. Are you drinking Barolo right now, HYC?
I actually did not drink wine tonight because it would put me to sleep.
Oof.
I'm drinking tea. Sorry.
It would be funny if you're drinking like chamomile tea.
No, green tea.
Very nice. So we all failed as a community, really, I feel. If anyone in chat is drinking Barolo, brag about how cool you are compared to everyone else. We had a Malbec in here, but not a Barolo. Okay, I guess. So
I would,
Diego...
but I had one when we broke 0.01, and I don't want to open one so soon afterwards. So.
So I guess really big, like exciting news that happened today. Diego, do you want to talk about what's happening with the Monero atomic swaps?
Yeah. So just recently, a guy named Hashed, which is spelled H4S something leet speak kind of dealio. He has a team of like 3 or 4 people, and they've been they put a CCS proposal forward about making atomic swaps. Basically, they had done the research before. Because Monero does not have refund transactions, we have not been able to do atomic swaps in the typical way that most Bitcoin derivatives have done, and it's because of Monero's privacy things that we really can't make that happen, or it would, it would be somewhere down the line, or it would require a lot of research. Well, this guy Hashed, he and his team have identified a way to do atomic swaps with Monero with Bitcoin derivatives. It utilizes multisig, and it does it in a very different way than typical atomic swaps, but it works. So they put out a proposal. Now that the research is done, somebody just needs to make the code, make it happen, make some libraries that are easily implemented in other people's stuff. So maybe, your favorite wallet will be able to plug that straight in and be able to do those things right away on its own. Who knows, where this is going to go. But they put out a proposal, which was a lot of money because it's like a 8 or 9 month endeavor, according to them. And there was some back and forth in regards to, how much we've been burned on long proposals before, or maybe we should chunk it up or whatever. But the community and the core team and the atomic swaps team, we've come up with some good compromise, and it got funded. It got funded really quickly. In 3 days, we had a couple of whales throw their weight around. We had a bunch of small timers throwing in their 0.001 Monero and feel like they did something. So that's good for them. everybody came together in a small way, big way, whatever way, and we got this thing funded. So it'll be here 9 months from now, maybe, if everything goes well and everything is according to plan. Which let's cross our fingers, because many times software development does not quite work like that. But it's definitely something to look forward to. And this comes at a very interesting time, because Sarang Noether has stepped down from MRL, and so we don't have any current active MRL researchers that are kind of continuously churning out new research or looking at the newest stuff. But it's interesting to note that we do still have interested people that are willing to do research and development, and are willing to push Monero forward in other ways. So it's not like with the departure of our last PhD, like everything comes grinding to a halt. No, there's still people coming, left, right, and center that are looking at how to improve Monero and push it forward. So I'd say we are in a fantastic position, and this really just shows how strong the community is in terms of making funds, in terms of people wanting to do things, in terms of the passion that is still being poured into the project 6 years later, which is a long time. If you have not been in the crypto sphere for a long time, then you should see some of these projects that go a year, 2 years, burning the candle at both ends, and then they just drop off the face of the earth. They just don't have what it takes to keep going. And these are projects that have pre-mines. These are projects that have ICO money. These are projects that have raised the funds and hired the people, and yet somehow they still fall off and disappear before projects like Monero does, that is open source and largely volunteer based, and the money that we do raise is all fundraised. So it just really speaks to the passion of the community that we're still going, and we're not just like barely plodding forward. We're still moving forward very strongly.
Yeah, I just want to stress how awesome it was that the community came together and funded such a large proposal in 3 days. It's also excellent that we're able to sit here on stream and say, "Woohoo, we did it!" rather than "Please make it happen." Right? We're here to celebrate that it actually already happened, which is great. We don't need to beg people for money for this proposal. We'll just have to beg people for money in the future.
It was like one person made a $200,000 contribution, though, right? Am I mistaken in that?
No, there were a few large contributions. Yeah, some people really want those swaps.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm kind of curious to see how much. Yeah, I mean, it's going to take half a year or whatever for them to do their work, and then from what I understand, that's not related to any actual implementation on a website or an app or anything, right? That's a whole nother work that somebody has to do. But I mean, like, how much are atomic swaps really used for like Bitcoin and Litecoin? Or I mean, is it actually being used out there anywhere at this point?
I think there's something people have talked about for a very long time as like an idealistic way to have a decentralized exchange, but I don't think they're really even used in the Bitcoin space very much. I've never seen or interacted with a tool that actually implements them and is talked about and sees use. So I know there's some other projects working on atomic swap based dexes at the moment too, but I think it's something that's been talked about as kind of like a pipe dream for a long time, and it's just now starting to come to fruition across multiple projects.
Yeah, hopefully it gets some use after.
I think for Monero though, and Bitcoin, I think there are a lot of other issues, and it's to do with the fact that this business of that that Monero is fungible and Bitcoin is not really fungible, the issue of privacy, all that in the case of Monero, I think it's creating some really interesting dynamics. And quite honestly, myself, I didn't really look at it that much because that's not something I would use. But because I sold my Bitcoin in 2014, 2015. So over scaling. So it's not something that, but I realize now that we may be creating a situation where Bitcoin becomes a form of Zcash, where the T transactions are Bitcoin transactions and the Z transactions are Monero transactions. Granted, I was at just a few hours ago, when I got the message for this, I was actually at the location of the Zcash ceremony, literally. where one of it happened having lunch when I was driving up here from Vancouver. And but I think there's that element to it, with one big difference, that the T transactions will be sizably cheaper in fees than the SEC transactions are cheaper than fees of the so-called T transactions. So there's some argument about that could happen with Bitcoin. The whole element of atomic swaps and the fungibility on the Monero side, and lack of fungibility on the Bitcoin side, I think is going to be very, very interesting. From a compliance perspective and just from a risk perspective for the average user. There's a bit of an interesting case here in Monero.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if the liquidity that pops up once this is live and people are using it, if it will be one direction, if we'll only see the vast majority going from Bitcoin to Monero via atomic swaps, or if we'll see pretty balanced liquidity between both directions. I think a lot of people, I mean, I've been surprised at how many people have jumped in on Reddit, on IRC, and obviously for this proposal, who are really excited about atomic swaps. I think it was some of the highest upvoted posts on Reddit, and seemed like a lot of people are really interested. So definitely curious to see how the liquidity is once things are moving.
Do they want to buy Monero or sell Monero?
I don't think the people who were talking about it were clear on which direction they were going, but they're already in the Monero community, so I would think probably getting more into Monero, but that's what I'm curious about, if people will want to trade Monero for Bitcoin in a peer-to-peer fashion. Because like you mentioned, the risk of taint, that kind of thing could be a problem, especially since you don't have any way to, I mean, once it goes through, there's no third party, obviously, that you can get to give you some fungible Bitcoin instead or anything like that. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what the market's like.
I am worried about people putting their tainted Bitcoin in there, but not Monero's problem, I guess. So there's only so much we could do for the fault of another asset, right? So
if anything, it may speed that thing up. If you haven't seen Daniel Kim's presentation, he does talk about in an area of car sales, where you have the lemons, which are the bad cars, and you have the good cars, and then the more bad cars flood the market, the more people that are selling good cars are going to be incentivized to leave just because of risk and stuff like that. So if you haven't watched that, you should go see it. It's very, very good, and it pertains to this entire thing, because as more and more tainted Bitcoin floods to the atomic swap protocols, whoever implements these protocols, to try to get clean Monero, because there's no such thing as tainted Monero, you're going to see more and more Monero people kind of leaving that market because they're getting burned by getting tainted Bitcoins. And so you're going to have a lot of people trying to trade out tainted Bitcoins and not a lot of people selling Monero, which is really just going to, I mean, I know we're not price talkers here, but it really pushes things up for Monero because there's a lot of demand for clean, fungible coins, as opposed to whatever it is that Bitcoin is. So, sorry for all of you Bitcoin fans out there. It must suck to be wrong, but I wouldn't know. I
detected a little bit of arrogance in your voice there, Diego. Just a bit.
Well, yeah, the question is, if I want to sell Monero for Bitcoin, there are sources I can go to where I can at least have an entity I can go after if they sell me tainted Bitcoin. So the question becomes, are we going to see two markets for Bitcoin? Are we going to see one market where the price of Bitcoin just goes drastically down because it's tainted, and people will sell Monero for the tainted Bitcoin? And then we're going to see another market where the Bitcoin is not tainted and therefore worth more. But the other interesting thing is, suppose somebody actually wants tainted Bitcoin because of what they want to do with it, that is not traceable to them. So that creates another interesting market. Like if you're going to spend it somewhere, shall we say, not so kosher, would you want tainted Bitcoin precisely because it's not traceable? So that's another interesting question.
So if I could shift topics a little bit here, unless did somebody want to comment on what Arctic Wine said? it's pretty definitive, according to me, like, as far as I'm concerned. Yes, it seems like somewhat of an inevitability. But I do want to shift slightly on topics here because there is one other super exciting thing, and the person who made it is not here with us. He hasn't died or anything. He's just not here on this call. But DSC did come out with the Feather Wallet recently, and if you haven't seen it or tried it, you should give it a go. It's an Electrum-like wallet, so it's not based off of Electrum. It's all done from the ground up, which seems to be a trend in the Monero ecosystem. But it is Electrum-like, so it looks and feels like Electrum, and it's got some pretty neat features like any open CCS proposals that are waiting for funding. There is a window where you can look at those and donate to those really easily and quickly. It uses the new 12-word seed that was proposed a while back. Was it Tevador that proposed that? And hopefully one day the Monero GUI people can. I mean, I don't know. I guess people are torn and have pros and cons for implementing the shorter seed phrases, but I think they're pretty nifty. I think they're a massive UX improvement, particularly for block height, which I can
speaking of which, Diego, guess who just hit the block height?
Yeah, we just hit it.
Woohoo! Hard fork! I have block 2,210,001 coming into my node right now.
Yeah, same here.
Happy hard
So it
fork,
looks like
everyone.
we actually hard forked.
Happy hard fork.
Yeah, so successfully.
Congratulations.
All right, guys, we did it. Monero's done. We have accomplished everything we set out to accomplish. We can now all go home.
Bye.
That's.
I want to see some. I want to see some of the smaller transactions.
So we actually, I was looking, some comments came in. Although I believe it is technically possible for Clsag transactions to come in the first few blocks based off consensus rules, they will not be included in the first 10 blocks, I believe. So the first 10 blocks will probably not contain Clsag transactions unless someone was really going out of their way to do something. I think the idea was give it a few block window to flush the mempool with the ML sags, and then the fun CL-SAG stuff will come out. I guess HYC, there's a few things I want to cover with you. First, I want you to explain what the Barolo joke is for a lot of people. They were DMing me, be like, what's this Barolo joke that people are talking about in this chat? So first of all, I think you're a good person to explain what it is. And second of all, you made a challenge you made a challenge or something for people to make Clsag transactions after the fork. So can you touch on both those points, please?
Okay. So the Barolo joke came about. Actually, shouldn't Need Money be telling this story? Wasn't it him?
I mean, Need Money, you want to do it instead?
Yeah. I mean, there was a Monero Slack, and there was a bridge to the IRC. And so when people talk in one, it transfers over the bridge. And during one of the Monero forks, there was a lot of chatter over the bridge. And at some point, I guess it overwhelmed the bot and it broke. And for everybody who sent a message, the last message that had passed over the relay was the only thing that was said. And the bot said it as if it was the person who had just said that message. So, like, if you would say, like, hello, and it would say, and the last thing that had been said was from Infinite Jest, and he said, I just opened a 2004 Barolo in your and all the devs' honor. And so, like, just coming over the relay, we had a dozen people just saying this line over and over, and I was trying to figure out what the heck was going on. And it became a meme. Even after the bridge got fixed, people were copy-pasting it, and I thought it was still broken. Yeah, it was interesting.
You know what that reminds me of? Need Money is when I ask if you can hear me and you just say no. That's what that reminds me of. I think you deserve that one. All right, so congrats on the hard fork, everyone. We did not have to wait a long time for the next block. It actually happened almost instantaneously then. It was only a few seconds. So we weren't even able to cover a very minor rant. We probably can't even call rant from Diego. His rants are normally an hour long. So
I cut off there. I need at least 15 minutes before I start getting in my groove, and that was only like
He's just
3 or 4
he's
minutes.
just warming up. Yeah.
He's still sitting down.
I'm fidgeting over here.
I interrupted him. He's like, oh, it's another 15 minutes of content just in case it was an even longer title. I remember last time we did it, the viewership was still going up because it had to have been a bunch of people just wondering what the heck was going on with the network. Let's just watch this live stream, I guess.
It went on
Fun
for
times.
What, hour and a half, 2 hours?
It was over
But,
2
but
hours.
that was because of the POW change, right? So all the blocks were coming in slow.
We were just waiting for the next block. Like, it'll be here any minute, guys.
Like, it can't be more than 10 minutes.
45 minutes
Well,
later, we're like, soon, promise.
What was really interesting was when we forked away the ASICs. That's the case when the we forked away the Bitmain ASICs.
Which
That's
time?
the first one.
That was a train wreck literally every time we did it. That was just a friggin' train wreck every time.
Yeah, it was.
But it was worth it.
We can argue now.
I mean, that's
People
arguable.
insisting that we keep doing that. People
I mean,
still
it's arguable
insisting
depending on your
we should
state of like
continue on
what
that-
is like
that
what
path.
is the goal of that fork. But
I remember my complaint was we moved the hard fork up 1 month, and that delayed the majority of features we wanted in ODAT 14, I believe it was, for like 3 or 4 months. That was the real disappointing part of that.
Because Bulletproofs was one of those big features, wasn't it?
No, not that time.
No,
The big
Bulletproof done.
it was pruning for that one, and it was something else. And it was like, yeah, we basically scrapped all the updates just to get those consensus changes in for mining, and then the other ones came, 3 or 4 months later than they should have. So it's fine. We survived. All better for it. So, I guess, thank you for being here. I don't want to end it here, but if you do need to duck out, thanks for coming here. I know for a lot of people that are in Europe, it's quite late for you. So we appreciate you making it to the Monero network upgrade. It's great. I'm glad it went smoothly. We no longer have chaos as it happens, which is good. These are just always fun because it's an excuse to get together, but it's no longer all of us being stressed that the network will blow up live. And I think it's good that the network is no longer as experimental as it perhaps once was. Things are settling down a little bit there, and I think that's good. We still have all the big changes that come with improvements like Clsag, but we no longer really have the crazy hard fork chaos. So that's good. Although I think the 0.1 release is a little unfortunate, but I don't think it really will. I don't think anyone will be super impacted by that, so that's okay. I guess going forward, what are some major things that we want to see happen in the next 12 months from the Monero community? What are cool projects that you really want to work on, whether it's you working on them or perhaps you want someone else to take this mantle and run with it? Because we have people in chat here that are perhaps interested in contributing and may have never done so before. I think can I have VT Nerd? Do you want to kick us off here on what you hope that you see in the Monero community in the next 9 to 12 months?
Within the community in general, or what?
Well, whether it's dev or community, whatever Monero related. How about that?
Ooh. I mean, the first thing that came to mind is I was writing a proposal to add encryption to the PDP links. This is something that Monero Move suggested. My proposal is a little bit different. Maybe an advantage of this was that it adds very low we still get encrypted links. So it's sort of like expand on what any because at that point it sort of blinds the
protocol information that the ISP can see. Beyond that, the Simon will be interesting because it's not going to be dead wallets because we don't really have. I guess there are a couple Monero wallets that are multi-coin, but that's something that's. I mean, because I guess a lot of them XMR too, but it's not really the same thing. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes because even if they come with libraries, it is probably longer than 9 months. I mean, realistically, but I don't know. And then there's what I'm really interested in with that is if anyone comes up with a APP order book kind of system. So I'd have to look to see what the other DEXs are doing, but that's like a whole other protocol where you would set up an order book. What?
I was gonna say when Uniswap.
Yeah. So I guess those are two that are sort of fresh in my mind, and I guess Triptych as well. But that's going to be like a longer push. So there's a lot to pull there. And there's a lot of optimizations I would personally like to do in the broadcast or the P2P code and all that. You're going to be talking about download times and all that, so it'll be interesting if we can narrow that gap a little bit.
Awesome. What about you, M5M?
Oh, I'm sorry, I just thought because I'm watching the pool a bit.
Yeah, I guess you're working right now. Sniper, you know the way where you're actually working right now.
I mean, it never stopped working. We actually just found our first post-port block 2 minutes ago, so we're running.
How is it not sleeping through fork, Alex?
You know, I really could snap into the couch right there.
Feels good though, right?
I could be sleeping through the fork. I mean, classically sleep through forks. This is what happens.
So, M5M, we asked if, like, what would you like to see out of the Monero ecosystem in the next, like, 9 to 12 months or so?
Well, adoption.
You want Amazon to accept it in 9 to 12 months?
Oh, yes, please.
Yes, yes. Please give me Amazon, direct XMR to Amazon.
I would really like to see Project Coral Reef 2.
Ooh, that hit close to home.
I think the only way that
I don't know,
happens is if there's
Go ahead.
a new darknet market named Amazon that comes.
Nah, I think we are on a really good track. Yeah.
We need merchant tools. We need a lot of things. It's a multi-prong. I always say it's a multi-prong approach thing. Adoption is a multi-prong approach, and meaning that both prongs have to go into the outlet at the same time. You can't put one first and then the other. It doesn't work like that. And it's just like if you don't have people willing to spend Monero at merchants that accept it, and merchants are not going to invest in the infrastructure to accept Monero because they're not going to get anything out of it. But at the same time, if there's no merchants accepting Monero, you don't have anybody willing to buy and use Monero as money because nobody's accepting it. So you kind of have to have both at the same time, which means all the tools need to exist somewhat simultaneously. You know, there can be some time discrepancy there, but the tools have to be there somewhat simultaneously for the economy to really start kicking off on its own and just kind of running away and doing its own thing. Otherwise, it's just not gonna happen. So there's still a lot of work to be done. There's still a lot of work to be done. Even if the protocol was to ever come to a place where it's finished, which it's not necessarily going to be because privacy is a cat and mouse game, right? It keeps going. But even if we get the protocol to a place where we're really happy with, let's say implement Triptych or Arcturus or something like this, right? We get the transactions really, really small and it's really, really big, and we get to a point where like, okay, you know what, this is pretty good, where we can slowly start to ossify or what have you. The protocol is one piece of the puzzle when it comes to using Monero as money. There's a lot of other pieces that still have to go. So we've got a long way to go. If you want to help, we're not anywhere close. Please find a way to get involved and do some things and those kinds of things.
But to
I
To
had
go
a
back-
few things that just. I'll go ahead.
To go back to that question you asked, how much do you think can be done in the next 9 to 12 months?
You're talking to me or Diego there?
Diego, yeah.
Okay.
Man, in 9 to 12 months, not as much as we'd like, but probably a little bit more than we think. I'm going to give the vaguest answer possible so I can say, see, I was right.
I can't disprove that, Diego.
This stuff, it's a marathon. It is a marathon. It's not a sprint. I know oftentimes when you're looking at the charts and when you're looking at this coin going above us or this coin getting behind us or whatever, it seems like a sprint. It seems like we got to do something and we're going to lose our position or we're going to whatever. Sometimes you need to take a breath. You need to take a step back. You need to realize this is a marathon, right? It's over a longer time period. A lot can be done in 9 to 12 months, but probably not everything that we want. It's just the way of development. It's the way of UX. It's the way of research. It's the way of creation and innovating and ideas. To give a concrete answer, how much can be done in the next 9 to 12 months?
Is wind concrete?
That's about as concrete as I can give you.
Are you driving through a tunnel?
I'm just going back real quick to the timing of the block taken in. We went from the block before to the one, the first block or the hard fork block in like less than 1 minute. So it wasn't that
was
fast.
Probably all of the ASICs that just wanted to get in the last ditch attempt before we swapped the POW.
Well, see this: the block 2,210,000, and then the next block 2,210,001 were 7 seconds apart. I was not prepared.
Whenever I send a transaction, the blocks are 20 minutes.
Right?
I have one set of block take 25 minutes to be found, and
You're waiting for the 10
to plug the pool ops. Celebrate your transaction, small fee.
It blows my mind every time. It happens every time.
You send the transaction, you have the first confirm is nice and fast, but then the 10th confirm takes 6 years when you want to spend the funds. Yeah, that's a fun one. It's a Monero specific problem, sadly. So
I mean, at least on Bitcoin, where you're waiting 4 hours for the first transaction, for the first confirmation.
Yeah, really.
You can't just call Bitcoin out like that. We have maximalist feelings to think of.
You gotta be nuanced about it, Sniper. Sniper, you gotta be nuanced. You gotta be like, well, sure, Bitcoin has this problem, but it's not a problem because
hit it with a sledgehammer and get it over with. It's only temporary.
I feel like they just like being anyway, whatever. For them, it's not temporary. They just like, I don't know. They'll have to move on eventually.
I think we're about to see a 300 mega hash network drop. I don't think 2 miners updated their pool.
Yeah, we're seeing long.
I was thinking the same thing.
Well, if you look, they're 20
minutes
minutes behind on block finds. They haven't found one post fork, and they've already dropped 30 mega hash from where they were right before the fork. And mine XMR spiked that 30. So I think those miners are moving.
Yeah, but they're still showing the correct block height.
Falling.
Is it a pool or like independent?
I mean, it's a pool that's probably botnets. Like, they showed up randomly, less than a week ago. They were one of the big ones that spiked 800 or 900 mega hash onto the network.
Maybe Monero's just dead.
It's pretty significant, the amount they dumped on the network.
It's weird. I'm a block ahead of XMR chain. I'm on.
I mean, XMR chain's a little slow sometimes. You go back,
I'm seeing 6 now. I'm 2 blocks ahead of XMR chain.
Just smack Ginger.
I'm seeing 6 also.
Well, if you're going by status on the command line, it's going to show you what the next
mining block is.
You hit status on your
Oh, if I click status, it shows the next block?
So it's different than what XMR changed.
Wait, did you not know that?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It
I
shows
legit
like
did not know that.
Well, yeah, it's showing the block that's currently being mined, not the block that's currently active at top height.
You get used to it.
Have you guys been using this OBS Ninja long? Did you use it for the other Monero Meet stuff?
We have been switching over to it. Yeah, it's much better.
I kind of hate it, but okay.
What do you hate about it?
The UX is awful. It doesn't show you when you are muted or other people are muted. Or I mean, I could go on this all day. Okay, so I'm not going to, but we could talk about this after the fact.
I also fail to see the benefits compared
Maybe I'll
to
contact
G2.
these people. I'm like, hey, you guys need some UX people or what?
The main difference is that I'm not frozen half the time and blocky as I would be with Jitsi.
You know, you have to stop mining when you go live on the internet, right?
I'm still mining over here, no problems. You just gotta get more computer.
Yeah. I haven't stopped mining here yet either, so.
Nice.
All right, guys, I think I'm going to hop off, but it was fantastic getting to hang out with you all. Hopefully we can do this again one day when we have another fork, because that's
And we'll have other Monero meets also.
Yeah, but you never get this many people, you know?
Be the change you want to see, Diego.
This is the party time, the time when we're putting in new technology and everybody's excited, and then the time passes and you go, oh, I guess that was it.
Wow.
Oh, hey, so with the countdown challenge, we had the prize wallet is 1.3 XMR.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the largest guess? Was it 1.3 XMR?
No, actually, it was 1 XMR, and it was like 25 blocks early.
What? Okay, someone was feeling generous.
Someone was looking at the Bitcoin mempool.
It actually looks like there's only 3 players, so and
I sent 0.1 XMR.
And nobody actually landed in the block number that I specified, which was 10,001.
Yeah, because it was like 7 seconds. It was literally 7 seconds.
HYC turned on his botnets to quickly mine the next block so he can hang on to the purse.
Honestly, I feel like this is rigged.
He was block withholding the whole time.
Well,
I mean, for 7 seconds, there's a chance.
Oh well.
All right. Anyone else want to give one of the what you hope Monero will do in the next 9 to 12 months? Open-ended. Someone just take the mantle and run with it.
I'll start here if I can get a confirmation at least one person can hear me, because I've been having audio issues.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So I'm also, if it looks like I'm in a Whole Foods sitting by the bar, it's because I'm in a Whole Foods sitting right by the bar, and there's also people here celebrating the Monero network rate, it seems.
Good
so
to know.
I'll just say that, yes, woohoo. What I would hope happens is that, just as a token, I would love to see Monero on Coinbase. And I think we are. I know we don't need it, and they don't need us, and et cetera, et cetera. But to me, that would just be like a little feather in the community's cap, especially because I think things are swinging in that direction now. I recently saw an Apple ad with the word privacy and a period behind it. It's kind of becoming top of mind, even in their iOS update, I guess in 14. I guess they broke a lot of kind of industry best practices and allowing companies to mine your data, and people weren't happy about that. You can Google it. There's a lot of articles. I think consumers are starting to wake up to the fact that privacy is important. In the Monero compliance work group, a quick plug for them, we're focused on making a presentation right now, where several in the group are, to the Financial Action Task Force, who sets a lot of these global standards and directives for nations to follow. Now,
Just to be sorry, real quick. It's the EU working group, not FATF, for that one.
Yeah, it's EU.
Oh yeah, okay. I guess kind of crossing groups, because I'm involved in the one or both of them. but yeah, that's again, we're expecting it to be very well received. So a lot of good things happening in that direction as far as I can see. Oh, and I must say, watched a recent interview where I forget the gentleman's name at the moment. It was from Electric Coin Company, the Zcash folks, and it's very evident to me that they are advocating for a lot of the same things that we are in the Monero community in general, but specifically the compliance work group. So that's good to see too. We've got a bit of an ally there. Maybe we always haven't seen eye to eye in the past, but it seems like all the privacy-focused projects are kind of coming together at this point to push forward.
Can I just ask, how are you in a Whole Foods without a mask on?
Well, I think the technicality is I've got this wonderful iced tea here.
I see. Okay.
I'm drinking. Yeah, yeah. They definitely checked me at the door, though. I've got it in my pocket.
Okay.
But I'm up.
Wear
Guys.
your
I'll talk to you
masks,
later. Thank you.
everyone. Bye, Toss Man. Yeah, rates are peaking in Europe again. They're just, as far as competition's going, Europe's going to have more cases than the U.S. soon. So everyone over there, be careful when they're watching this, waking up. All right. I guess from my perspective, what I want to say, you know, we kicked off Monero Space recently. We still have only like somewhat announced it even. But our goal is to build out a lot of the bottom-up infrastructure that we need. So we now have a new Nextcloud. We want to add like a Pleroma. We want to add a Flarum. We want to add direct bot support. So instead of having people go on like Stack Exchange or subreddit or something and having to make an account or go on IRC, we want people just to be able to reach help anywhere, and hopefully that we can, you know, provide even a higher degree of onboarding, find what the real pain points are for users, and really just make sure that we have the infrastructure needed to support a growing community. Because, you know, this community is great, but like, could you imagine like if we had to, like if every single Monero community member was all trying to join this one, like this one call, my CPU just couldn't keep up, right? So we have to be able to scale with the growth of the community that has happened, right? We so many more transactions than we've had at any other point, and we have evidence that this is actual organic growth. Like, we have people coming, we need to make sure that they are having a good experience. So there's a lot of work that can still be done there, and I'm glad that, you know, we have great services like, you know, the redesign with Monero and Cake and things that are holding people's hands a bit more than they were in their very first versions. But, you know, we always have stuff to do, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think we're at the stage now where UX is a major focus of everything we've done in Monero. It's not just the UX of privacy being important, so therefore covered. It's also everything else that's getting involved in the conversation. So I think that's really, really exciting. What about you, JW? What do you think is something you want to see in the next few months besides us dropping Monero for WoW Nero?
Don't do that. I don't know. I mean, from a network or code perspective, but I have a personal project that I would like to get completed in the next 9 months, I guess. Optimistically, I'm making some major changes in my professional and personal life, but I do have something I've been working on, and it's like a kind of mix between gambling and gaming that would utilize the Monero network. So I'm hoping to get that out there in the next half a year.
Sounds cool.
Very cool. What about you, Scott?
I think for me, so I've been following the Linux mobile phone space for a while, so it's kind of a weird space for Monero, because when the Librem 5 by Purism, I think shortly after they did the Kickstarter, or maybe it was a year after, I can't remember the timeline exactly, like, oh, we're going to, you know, collaborate with Monero and have like a Librem wallet or whatever that utilizes Monero. And think it's changed a little bit as time has progressed, but in theory now that the Librem, after countless delays, is coming out, the final consumer version next month, or at least it's shipping out next month. Hopefully start getting like a Monero app for Linux mobile. That'd be cool to see. I don't know if it'll take priority in terms of their, their Kanban board of things to develop for the Librem 5 and so forth, but having a personal compute device that's, mobile oriented and be able to spend Monero on it would be cool. I've never felt comfortable having, even like, most people probably only put small amounts on their phone, but like I've never felt comfortable putting a, Monero wallet on my mobile device simply because of like how invasive the ecosystem is, period. Whereas Librem 5, I'd probably be more carefree to spend and use it in a mobile fashion. So we'll see if it happens in the next 9 months or not. So
Very cool. And how long until you get that Pleroma up?
To be honest, I've been pretty burnt out. So like I have a lot of like really close friends and family who are like in level 2 zones in Oregon. So like basically the level 2 status was get ready to draw or to run away at like the drop of a dime from the wildfires kind of thing. So it's been more draining than I was hoping, and it's just been kind of trying to not get too depressed kind of mode. So I think once November, the beginning of November has come and gone, and hopefully most of the craziness in the US starts to taper off, I'll probably be in a better place emotionally to work on things. The server is set up. It's just a matter of, because it's not like a vanilla setup for Pleroma, because like, you're using object-oriented storage and it's with a different provider. I have to, go into all these configs, and there's not really a whole bunch of documentation on it. So it's a lot of pathfinding. But I mean, ideally by the end of the year, we'll have it fully up and running. I know I said like 2 meets ago, I was like, oh yeah, I'll have it done in a month. It was like, and then the world somehow manages to keep getting worse and worse. With those I love. So, yeah. So.
Sorry to hear that. Hang in there.
Yeah.
Play some games with us or something. Whatever you like doing.
Yeah.
I have to watch Doug doing way too well at Fall Guys. Ugh. I don't know if he's still here. Or maybe he's playing Fall Guys.
No, I'm doing moderation on Reddit right now.
Okay.
I'm muted and moderating garbage because, yeah.
Instead of pushing people off of a platform, you're just banning them, is what you're saying.
I need to get a bunch of automation set up because there are a deluge of like support posts and random people. Like one thing that I really have no clue how to handle is people saying like X company is scammers. Just straight up headline, and then like they talk about some random stuff in their posts that is not verifiable. And I don't know whether we should leave those accusations up on the front page or whether it's reasonable to remove them. And if there's services that like have historically been fine, then I'm tempted to remove it, but that shows favoritism, and it's just a whole thing. So.
Got it.
Yeah.
Nicholas, are you still here? Just curious.
I am indeed still here.
Oh, you
yes.
are.
Listening in, learning, taking it all in.
Speaking of that, do you have any questions for like some of the Monero community here? What are some common questions that you get about like what Monero is that you want answered, or our opinion on anything?
From a customer perspective, not anything specific, not the kind of questions you would get for any other coin. From my end, I guess I would ask, I was obviously doing a little bit of research before this call about the state of Monero, and since I had last looked, which was about a year ago, and I was trying to wrap my head around these ring signatures, so maybe a more surface level explanation of what makes Monero so great would be pretty cool. But
want to get a go at that one, Seth?
Sure, I can take a stab at it. Is it ring signatures in particular that you're curious about, or just how the Monero protocol as a whole provides privacy?
I guess the second one, more specifically.
Yeah, sure. I can kind of jump in and hit the highlights of how the Monero protocol functions. Yeah, so basically when you send a transaction, the way that Monero protects the details of that transaction, protects the sender, the receiver, and the amounts involved. It protects both the sender and receiver's address by using what are sometimes referred to as stealth addresses, but probably a better term is one-time use addresses. But basically the sender is able to generate a special unique address that only the receiver can validate as his and publish that to the blockchain. So that makes sure that no one's addresses ever get published to the blockchain in any fashion. So you can't link between addresses just looking at on-chain data. Outside of that, the other main functions of the Monero protocol are what are often called confidential transactions or confidential amounts, which is basically a way that the sender is able to prove I'm sending this amount. It balances out, it's legitimate, and yet not publish the actual amount in clear text on chain. So unlike Bitcoin or Ethereum or anything like that, none of the amounts are visible when you look at a transaction on chain. And then the third thing that happens is something called ring signatures, like you mentioned, are used. And that basically hides which output is actually being sent in the transaction. The way that it does that is the sender selects using a specific algorithm that's been developed to make sure that it looks as uniform with normal user behavior as possible. But you basically select 10 other participants, and it's really important to note that no one else is actually participating in the transaction creation. It's not like a coin join in Bitcoin or anything like that. It's non-interactive. But you select outputs that have been created by other people and published on the blockchain as what are often called decoys or mix-ins, and you sign for all 11, the 10 decoys and your own output or key image. I'm not sure what the term that's usually used there is. And that can prove that that someone in that set of 11 signed, but you can't prove who signed outside of that. So you never actually reveal which output is spent in each transaction, even though everyone, including nodes, the receiver, everyone else can validate that it's a legitimate transaction, that one of the outputs was spent. So I think that's probably a reasonable high-level overview. Any specific questions jump out at you out of that?
You're saying it's private. I'm joking. Yeah, well, I caught most of that, but I'll have to rewatch this obviously on YouTube. And second thing I'll throw out there, Newton, the company I work at, just launched a blog recently, and I think one of the topics to cover probably for early next week is actually this hard fork. So if anyone's actually interested in writing something up, a little bit more user-friendly approach to what actually happened. I mean, if they want to send their details over to Justin, very happy to actually have one of you guys on the blog on there. So putting that out there.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, we're always here to answer questions. We're just normal people.
How has nobody made a post on Reddit yet about the fork having gone successfully? Wait 1 second. I need to go farm some karma.
I was going to, but I figured I was too late. So
you're not in our Monero.
I'm just gonna remove everybody else's post if you go in like.
I will say though, it could very well be a lot of people were expecting it to be tomorrow, and then you know, things accelerated, and people haven't been monitoring the actual block number for.
Like 8 hours ago, people were still referring to it as being many hours later than it ended up happening. So hopefully that didn't catch too many people off guard. Seth, I know you need to go and do everything else in your life. So
it would be 14, right?
I believe so. I need to verify that, but I believe
13. 13 is the first fork. 14 is the one that comes tomorrow.
Okay, cool. So do you want to give an overview about? Answer the same question that we asked before. What do you hope happens to Monero in the next 9 to 12 months?
Yeah, I think the things that jump out to me are it's been amazing to see the increase in transactions on the network. I mean, really just kind of a parabolic increase in transactions over the past 9 months to a year. And I really hope to see that continue, not just to become steady, but to keep increasing. I think we're seeing a big shift in those users that know the need for privacy using Monero, and places that maybe you don't agree with ethically, that kind of thing. But I think we're seeing a lot of people start to shift towards Monero and realize the value in transacting there. So I'm hopeful that'll continue, and that, like Diego talked about, more merchants and more merchant tools will jump onto the Monero train, so that I have more places to spend Monero. I really think one thing that I like about the community is we don't have this hodl mentality, at least not as strongly as Bitcoin, and we realize how useful Monero is as a tool to actually spend. So I'm hopeful that that will continue. People will spend their Monero, will talk to merchants that they like, and help them get into the Monero ecosystem as well. And outside of that, the other thing that I want to see is I just want to see more people, especially who are non-technical, jump in and help out. Whether it's kind of project management type roles, whether it's education type roles. I think there's a lot of ways that people who aren't necessarily developers can give back to Monero, and can help out, and at the same time learn and improve themselves. So hopefully more people will jump in that way. I think it's a really good role that we need more of too. Yeah, I think those are a couple of the high level things. And obviously atomic swaps, I'm really excited for those. I will definitely be jumping on that train and playing around with every alpha and everything that they release.
Exactly.
Feather is exciting to get a new Monero desktop wallet. So lots of great things going on. So yeah, I'm excited. But I am gonna go ahead and drop off. So thank you everybody.
Yeah, I gotta drop off too, guys.
Yep. Thanks, Seth and great having you here.
Likewise.
See you all
Yep.
soon.
Justin, thanks for having me here.
Thank you.
Yes, I think
Nick,
we'll,
congrats on the
unless someone,
hackathon.
yeah. Does anyone have any last minute comments, or should we end it here?
I was going to comment on having just noticed to 1.92 two in, two out transactions in the transaction pool.
Happy fork.
So that's actually the Clsag transaction in there, just a tad under the 2,000 byte area. Yeah, I was actually waiting for that. Now I am working on some aspects of this long-term median and fee stability, which is definitely in that time frame of 9 months. It'll be a lot sooner than that, although it will. And essentially, it's in response to an issue that there was a concern about fees rising too drastically if there was a sudden drop in usage of the Monero network. And the theory was at the time before COVID that the suddenly the transaction rate will go from, let's say, a factor of 100. So we were starting, say, at roughly, say, 500 times the adoption we have right now, and then we drop by a factor of 20 or 100. What would happen to fees? And it's actually quite a disruption in that situation with the current algorithms. So the idea is that what I'm working on right now is to use the long-term medium to prevent that from happening, to stabilize so that the long-term medium actually becomes sort of like the penalty-free zone. And then the idea is that once you go up to a certain point, the long-term medium won't drastically drop like it can do now. And also it becomes a penalty-free zone until it actually starts falling back down again at its regular rate. So that's the couple of things that I'm looking at right now. So I should have something in fairly soon. I mean, I was actually waiting for the transaction sizes also on this to figure out, because it's really, really close to 2,000 bytes after this fork. It's actually very, very close. So
speaking of which, one of those just got mined, and I think we now have our first. I'm looking. Okay, it's hard for me to tell very obviously if a Clsag transaction was mined. Anything below 1.73 kilobytes would be,
yes, there is. Actually, a one input to output transaction with Clsag has already been mined. It's a couple of them, and they're 1.42. And then what I have seen mined right now is a 1.92 two in, two out, and another 1.92 two in, two out.
I see those in the mem pool at the moment. I haven't seen.
No, on height 11. 22.100.11.
Oh, you're saying 2 in, 2 out, 1.92. Yes.
Yeah, 2 in, 2 out, 1.92. 2 in, 2 out, 1.92. And going further back, there is one where it is on 09. There is a 1 in, 2 out, 1.42.
1.42 is definitely Clsag, yeah.
So that's the Clsag. And then there's I was waiting for the 2 in, 2 out. Because that's the one.
If you eyeball, it's just tagged as a ring CT type 5. Like the individual transactions have that state on chain.
Okay. Type 5.
Yeah, if you just
oh,
pop
I
up a couple
see.
of
4 versus 5.
Yeah.
Got it.
4 versus
Okay,
5.
see. So someone can go through and find out what
You
the
guys
oldest
gotta-
one
You
is.
guys got to take the easy, lazy programming answer.
I can't eyeball. It doesn't just show that when you're in XMR chain. I have to go through each transaction individually. It's easier for me just to eyeball the size. Then I don't have to leave the page, Sniper.
Yeah, it is actually simple to look at go and look for a transaction with the right characteristics of size and the right in and out. So, but I was waiting for that 2 in, 2 out.
Got it. Okay, thank you, Arctic Mind, for the description of what you're doing with the, the fees and the block size. That's very exciting. It's one of the huge benefits that is well overlooked with Monero. Even though we talk about it, people always think of Monero and privacy. They sort of forget that we actually have a compelling, different approach to scaling for, the assumption that hardware will get better over time. What a shock, right? Controversial.
I like to think of it as a cloaked elephant in the ring in the Bitcoin cash fight. So you have an elephant in the ring that's cloaked by privacy. That's Monero.
Has a bunch of others. Monero has a lot of other stuff too. We try to do everything sensibly, not just one thing sensibly. But yeah, thanks everyone for being here. I think I'm going to call it here because it's been a while. It seems like everyone had a really good time. Of course, I really appreciate everyone being on to give their, give their thoughts about what they hope Monero will look like in the future, some updates, explain who they are and what they're doing. It's great to see the Monero community continue to grow. We like I mentioned, the transaction volume and the number of transactions per day is way up, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down. It seems like people are really, really using Monero. So that's obviously great, because if we dedicated all of our times doing this, we hope that someone's using it, right? So that's always excellent. So I'm going to end it here. Thanks everyone who joined us online, and of course in OBS Ninja too, our tested replacement for Jitsi. So we will catch you again in a month on the next Monero Meet or some other time whenever we have some other event. Make sure you hop in the IRC channel, Monero-space. You can join it from Matrix if you're interested in joining from there. Maybe that'll be more convenient for you. And of course, go to the Monero subreddit where Doug is going through getting all that fancy karma for for posting the congrats everyone that everyone's gonna upvote. All right, thanks everyone. Talk to you later.
Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Bye.